All right, so now our gravity has been implemented. We tested it. It's working great. Let's go ahead and implement our jump. Lee?
All right. Once again, we're going to start off by adding a field. The field that we're going to need is going to be another public float. And this one's going to be, surprisingly enough, called jump speed.
Okay.
We're going to set it to a default value of 6F. And let's implement jump. So we'll scroll down here just below apply gravity. We'll make this a public because we have to access it from outside of this class. It's not going to return anything, so it's going to be a void, and we're going to call it jump. It doesn't take any arguments in, and we'll put our brackets in. The only thing that we have to do before actually jumping is check to make sure we're on the ground.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do an if. We're going to check TP controllers, character controller field that we've set up.
Right.
We're going to check and make sure is grounded. Is grounded will return true if our character controller is on the ground, false if it's not. So we're going to check to see, make sure it's grounded. If it is, we're going to apply our jump speed to our vertical velocity. We're going to give our character its impulse to get off the ground. So we just set vertical velocity
equal to jump speed.
Equal to jump speed.
Yeah.
That is all we need to do in TP motor to make jump happen.
Right.
But we have no way of triggering the jump yet.
Right. That's the mechanism that will fling the character up into the air, but we need some way to call on that. And we're going to be breaking this up, as we mentioned earlier, in a couple of different ways. One, we're going to make it a part of a method that will contain the various actions that our character could potentially perform. And then we're going to have a jump method that is actually inside of TP controller, so that method from TP controller, the TP controller version of jump, can call on TP motor's version of jump. We do that because TP controller's version of jump will eventually do more than just call on TP motor. It'll call on another class that will handle the animation of our character so that she looks like she's jumping.
Right. So let's jump over to TP controller and start putting that in. To start, we actually will skeleton in that method that is going to control all of those actions. It's going to be a private method. It's called handle action input. Takes no parameters, bracket it in. I'm not going to put in any functionality just yet, but I do want to make sure that this gets handled or called after we deal with get locomotion input, but before we call the motors update.
Okay.
So it will get called in every update as long as the main camera exists. Now, there is one other skeleton method I want to put in, which is going to be a jump. And these ones, yeah, I'm going to keep these ones private for now.
So you can probably make it private for now.
Yep. So this one will be jump. And when this gets called, right now, it's only going to do one thing.
It's going to call on TP motor's jump.
Yep. We're going to look at TP motor instant jump.
And again, just as a reminder, this ties back into considering TP controller to be a brain, to be a central processing unit in and of itself, because this means that our jump method here inside of TP controller can tell motor to perform the jump action and throw the character up into the air. It can also drive an animation, so it can fire off some sort of different motion for the character to go through, like on her skeleton. It could also potentially fire off a sound effect. It could trigger a particle effect. It could do all kinds of things if we wanted it to.
Right. So whatever you wanted to do to happen every time jump happened could be coordinated from here.
Right.
So it gives you a single place to control multiple systems.
Right. You can route out signals to all kinds of different classes.
Right. Now, jump's still not going to run. It's not going to do anything yet.
Right.
Because we haven't looked for an input. Right. We need to look for an input from the player to do it. Now, to do that, inside of handle action input, we're going to do an if statement. That if statement is looking for input dot get button. And the button that we're looking for is jump. So if
and that would be the jump as defined in Unity's input manager.
Right. So if get button jump is true, then we're going to do something. What are we going to do? We're going to call jump. So if the player hits the jump button, we call jump. We jump down to jump, which is down here. Jump just says, hey, go to the TP motor, find its instance, and call its jump.
That's right. Our handle action input is calling on its local TP controller version of jump. And right now, because all we have is TP motor, it does feel a little bit redundant. You've just got to remember that by having that jump here in TP controller, we're opening up a lot of possibilities as to what that could actually do.
Right, and there's really no limit to what you can do. Anything you want to jump to do, you code down here, and it will just fire. So with that, we should have everything that we need to make our character jump. So let's go test it, see what happens. So back inside of Unity, we hit play. Camera works. Jump button by default, I believe, is the space bar. Uh-oh. Hey, we can jump.
We can
Not
jump.
very high,
We have
but
a
we can jump.
tiny amount of jumping.
Well, I think that might have something to do. We've got our gravity set to 50.
Yeah, you did crank gravity way up a minute ago.
Yeah, terminal velocity up to 50. So, you know, if we dial that down a little bit and hit space
There.
again.
Now we can hop a little better.
A little bit better. Let me go back down because I was playing, so I'm going to adjust those settings a little bit more. But we have jump speed.
Yep.
So, you know, maybe I wasn't happy with it. I want our little, you know, capsule guy to jump a little bit higher. So I'll just take his jump speed and ramp it up a little bit. So now if I jump much higher. But if you watch the trajectory, it might be hard to see it at the playback here. But he'll start jumping at a speed. He'll get to the top. He'll start coasting to a stop.
Right.
He'll hover for just a split second, and then he starts accelerating back down to the ground.
Just like a real angular trajectory when firing something up in the air.
Then if I take the camera to steer, start running.
Yeah, you can jump over all kinds of stuff now.
So now I can run and I can jump over these obstacles. No problem. So now we have jumping.
Exactly. So that is everything that we needed to cover here. We have our functionality for jumping, and that's going to wrap things up for this video. Thanks a lot for watching.